Hey there, fight fans. It's John Pollock here with you. In the news today, UFC President Dana White addresses Jon Fitch's release. A teammate of Fitch's signs a lengthy extension with the company, and the Bellator organization produces fireworks in Utah. Let's get to the news of the day. It was a night of knockouts in Utah Thursday night with an explosive card on Spike. In the main event, Shavkat Shamalayev knocked out Rad Martinez in the finals of their delayed featherweight tournament with a second-round stoppage. Shamalayev will have to wait for Daniel Strauss to fight Pat Curran first for the title. The night also saw Emmanuel Newton shock everybody with a knockout of the year candidate to Muhammad King Mo Lawal with a first-round spinning back fist to advance to the finals of the 205-pound tournament. Newton will meet Mikhail Zayats in the finals, who finished Jacob Noe Thursday night with a first-round armbar, and another huge knockout coming courtesy of Ben Saunders with a left head kick to Raul Amaya to advance to the finals of the welterweight tournament, where he will fight Douglas Lima, also victorious on Thursday night, defeating Brian Baker with a first-round knockout on Thursday night. UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez has signed a new 8-fight contract with the UFC. Velasquez had 3 fights left on his existing deal, but UFC President Dana White felt he deserved the new deal prior to his next fight, which is coming up May the 25th against Antonio Silva. And White was very vocal in the media scrum on Thursday, addressing the criticisms over Jon Fitch's release from the company earlier this week.
This isn't a case where Jon Fitch was ranked number 9, number 7, number 6, number 4, number 2, and then we cut him. He was ranked number 1, fought for the title, then he was ranked number 2, he was ranked number 3, 6, 7, and now he's 9. That's called the downside of your career. He's on the downside. He's lost two fights, 1 draw, and won 1 fight. And then I saw stuff, I just wanted, because I got shit in my head from Twitter and all the other shit that I've been reading, right? Oh, it's because he beat Eric Silva. He beat his guy in Brazil and all this shit. Who the fuck is Eric Silva beat? Now, Jon Fitch can go out now, and he can, Viacom's got plenty of money, okay? Viacom MMA isn't hurting for fucking cash. There's a lot of other places where this guy can go, and he can make some money. The other thing is, Jon Fitch was ranked number 1 in the world, and yes, Jon Fitch gets paid a lot of money to put Jon Fitch on a fucking prelim, or put Jon Fitch over here. So it's not like Jon Fitch was on this incredible fucking winning streak, one of the greatest fucking welterweights in the history of the world. This guy's a fucking Hall of Famer. Guy's never won a fucking title in his life. What do you consider a Hall of Famer? If fucking Jon Fitch is a Hall of Famer, that fucking thing's gonna be packed. Viacom MMA has some money. So he can go out there right now, he can go out on the free market and find out exactly what he's worth.
So there we have it. Dana White furious over any criticism to levy in favor of Jon Fitch. And, listen, all these releases here, I'm fine. If you're going to make business decisions, that's fine. Come out and tell us that, Jon Fitch is someone that, we have to pay X amount of dollars to. We don't feel he's a wise investment at this stage in the career. But you know what? If it's going to be a business, don't use the sport argument when you choose to. I mean, there's a reason that, are we going to cut BJ Penn? No, that wouldn't make business sense. Is BJ Penn on the decline of his career? I think many would say yes. So it's like, let's not confuse the sport and business argument here. You guys are a business, and you don't feel that there's a return on investment in Jon Fitch anymore. Let's just come out and say that, rather than make this argument that this guy is on the downside of his career and that's the reason he's gone. If he had a compelling reason to keep him, he would have.
Yeah, I agree 100%, because the idea of the sport sometimes gets lost because the UFC is trying to sell entertaining fights, and that's what we should all hope for when we tune into mixed martial arts.
I'm fine with that. I've never viewed this as a traditional sport in the sense that, a football or baseball. This is a different animal when it comes to promoting fights, and a sport that could be pretty much extinct if the wrong executive in a boardroom said, we don't want to carry fights anymore.
Yeah. Hey, man, the truth is what Dana White said was right. He has been slowly dipping down it along that path.
Has he really?
Well,
hey, you get lost.
He got number 2.
He got stopped by Johnny Hendricks. He got caught just like Damian Maia got caught by Nate Marquardt. It happens. It's a part of the game. I mean, Jon Fitch's performance, yes, Damian Maia controlled the guy. He did what a lot of people say Jon Fitch did. Because Damian Maia is a guy that was a world champion in jiu-jitsu. This is a guy that I almost guarantee will at one time challenge George St. Pierre, or whoever holds the title at that time, for the welterweight crown. So, Jon Fitch is just unfortunate because he's facing killers. He's facing the top of the division. And you know what? Nobody is going to come out of that unscathed or even perfect. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. It's just the fact is that this is also a sport. And do we criticize the New Jersey Devils for their trap back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, people do criticize it, but the fact is they still won. They won more than they lost.
Yeah, and I agree. On one hand, the part of me that's always on the favor of the fighters goes, you can't cut guys like Jon Fitch. That's crazy. That's unfair. What are you telling the fighters? But the other part of me is like, hey man, this is my business. I want to cut this guy. Do I even need to explain it to people? Really, you can kind of do what you want.
But you scare your entire roster when you send a message. This is the top-ranked guy. We're going to cut him because he's making way too much money.
Maybe that's good.
Maybe that's
good. When guys are fighting for their jobs.
It's hard to say. And from a fan's perspective, listen, they don't have an investment in these guys. If you're a fan watching the fights on this weekend, there is an added wrinkle now that a guy that outside of the main event loses, his job is very well on the line. And listen, in sports, those kind of stories connect with people where there's an added emotional investment here in some of these fights.
That's unfortunate that people are idiots.
It is sad, but let me tell you, man, I have this feeling, a fight like Court McGee and Josh Neer, one of these guys is getting cut. They're both known for their toughness, and they fight with desperation. This could be the greatest fight of all time.
On the flip side,
fights like that.
On the flip side, do you see guys that are more tentative and are not going to take risks because a win is the only way they guarantee themselves job preservation?
Yes, that's what's going to happen. Guys are going to be afraid to go out there and engage because you change your style, you go out there and you run the risk, you end up risking getting knocked out or finished. The fact is, what they say is true. No risk, no reward. And I think a lot more fighters, guys or girls, are going to be tentative, and they're not going to go out there and risk getting cut from the organization.
Also interesting to know, Dana White saying this is not the end. They have to
get
100
rid of guys.
Yeah, so there's going to be lots of cuts for all the upcoming cards coming out of those shows. Quickly, let's chat about Bellator from Thursday night. Awesome card. I would say 2 knockout of the year candidates. Yeah. One from Emmanuel Newton, one from Ben Saunders, and King Mo, victim of a spinning back fist and knocked out.
That's what happens. You can't play this game. Emmanuel Newton's a tough guy, trains with a good team. King Mo had an awful game plan, going in there with his hands down, trying to showboat. He made some comments saying that Bellator is real mixed martial arts. Well, welcome to real mixed martial arts.
Hey, man, and in real mixed martial arts, you're fighting with your shoulder low, playing this game with all the boxers you're training with. If that was the way to fight, everybody would be fighting that way. That ain't the way to fight in MMA. That's a nice thing when you're developing as a boxer, but, he fell victim to it.
Very exciting Bellator show. I would go out to say the best one they've produced on Spike thus far. Check it out. Some excellent knockouts on Bellator as Fight News Now Extra continues.